Hello everybody, good evening here on Saturday, July 9th, and we welcome you in live here on the EIF Network to conclude not only this week's episode or year of tour, but have the Victory Votes pay-per-view to be the perfect send-off to what has been a near-perfect week. Now, I say near-perfect because yesterday we did run into several technical difficulties, unfortunately, and because of that, we had to cancel yesterday's show after doing just one match, as well as doing that. It also prevented some issues with doing the EIF podcast that unfortunately did not work, but we're having more on that in just a little bit. We did have an episode of Let's Play last night, so if you did not get the opportunity to already, go check it out. It was episode 4 of EIF Let's Play, and it was Peggle 2, a popular game at least within the niche market of myself, Prismatic Nebula, Greedy, and James R. Koffel, but either way, it was a good time for us. We hope it was a good time for you, and we hope that tonight will be even better because for the next 4 hours, the first hour being the pre-show, the following 3 belonging to the pay-per-view, we're going to be in your house with 8 matches, 4 championships, and most importantly, of 7 of those 8 matches, they were affected by you, the viewers, you, the superstars, the fans, the people of EIF, the people that make up Extreme International Fighting, because your votes have been counted, and we have closed the voting polls, so throughout this pre-show, we're going to be revealing to you guys who won what, who got what matches guys are fighting in. It's going to be all here tonight on the EIF network, and we also have a huge pre-show match coming up in just a little bit. It's going to be an exclusive here. You might as well call it a main card match for anybody else because, or any other pay-per-view. It's going to be Aaron and Greedy going one-on-one. That's still to come in just a little bit. Those two did not get a poll to fight on, but realistically, you don't need to vote to know you want to watch that match. It's going to feature The Undertaker and The Rock. We'll get to that in a little bit here. Let's talk a little bit about tonight, though. As we said, 4 championship matches and a number of other polls. And, you know, we had a lot of activity when it came to the voting, as we do year in, year out, people always trying to make sure that they can be a part of the voting, part of the group of guys that gets together and make sure they get their voices heard. And we reach out to a number of superstars. We even reach out to some family and friends of those superstars, even beyond that at times. And this year's Victory Votes, while it did not finish first overall from the one over 2 years ago, this year's Victory Votes tallied a grand total between all the polls of 752 total votes. That does not include the poll that had our championships and you determining which championship you wanted to see safe. That poll was actually not included into there. So it's probably closer to maybe 800, maybe even a little bit more than that. But either way, guys, thank you so much for participating in this one pay-per-view event every year that we need your participation in order to have it happen. Just as we're going to need James R. Koffel to get back in this party, since I'm assuming nobody else invited him and decided to let a few guys in here that will not be on the card tonight, but that's okay. Hi, Jolton, how are you? And let's get back to this pre-show. As we said, 752 total votes. Now, a lot of them were counted towards our opening match on the main card here tonight. So, guys, after Greedy and Aaron, when we go to do our hype video presented by Hybrid Maniac here on the EIF network, we're going to be kicking off the main card with championship gold in terms of the Intercontinental Championship. It's going to be defended, and it's going to be defended in a triple threat match featuring the champion James R. Koffel, pitted in a triple threat to defend his title against 2 challengers in Midnight Mayfire and Pepsi Killer. And James R. Koffel is going to have to defend in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Extreme Rules, which was option A, received 6 votes for last. Normal received 129 votes as C. And Falls Count Anywhere received a whopping, thank you, Hostile, 435 votes. So the Intercontinental Championship, again, Falls Count Anywhere, pinfall, and this is only pinfall because it is an ED match. So it will only feature pinfall now, not submission as well. So anywhere throughout the arena, and most importantly, which makes it feel welcoming here for Extreme International Fighting of all places, is no disqualifications. So all things legal, and the only goal is to just pin somebody. We could see a pinfall in the ring. We could see one out on the outside of the ring. We could see one all the way up the stage. You never know what's going to happen in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Speaking of Falls Count Anywhere, will we see two? Well, we know that the other mid-card championship is the United States title, a title that on a pay-per-view called Victory Votes, which embodies, I guess, the American spirit to some degree. No offense, Beatdown and Pepsi, and anybody else that's not American. But when it comes to that, picking a U.S. champion is a little hard to do. Well, Wicked Jr. was able to do that, and he actually did it and made it look a lot easier than some people had in the past, as he thwarted away Untamed Legend to be able to win that United States championship yet again in his career. Untamed's going to be looking to rebound and reclaim that championship, and the only way of doing so is by beating Wicked Jr. for the title. The options were A, an Extreme Rules match, B, a Falls Count Anywhere match, and C, a normal match. Your voices were heard, and by just one vote, the winning match will not be a Falls Count Anywhere for the U.S. title. It will be an Extreme Rules match for the United States Championship. So a match that they did not fight in the first time. Wicked Jr. obviously had the advantage with the Hideo Itami kicks. They might be rendered a little useless if they end up being smacked with a chair, a ladder, or maybe even put through a table, and that might be what Untamed's strategy is tonight in order to regain that United States Championship. Hybrid, I just realized I'm going to probably have to take the stream down and then put it back up to include audio because I did not do that. Yep. So guys, in the meantime then, Hybrid's going to be getting on here in about 15-20 minutes or so to call that pre-show match. So in the meantime, we'll just continue to rally off here on our polls. So we'll end up taking a TV timeout. Don't you love that? All right, well, we're talking about championships for a little bit, guys. Let's move on to some of our featured matches, specifically the EIF featured match. We asked you, what do you want to see happen? Do you want to see the tag team tournament opener? Do you want to see the Piggy in the Bank ladder match? Or do you want to see a Money in the Bank qualifying matches for the upcoming Money in the Bank ladder match at SummerSlam 5 weeks from tonight? And by just one vote yet again, the winner and featured match that will take place here tonight at the 9th Annual Victory Votes pay-per-view later on this evening is a multi-man ED Money in the Bank qualifying match. So we will find the first of 5 competitors for the Money in the Bank ladder match at SummerSlam. And of course, somebody who, the Money in the Bank can change careers. Take a look at December, for example, where Tripod won his first Money in the Bank ladder match. That was probably headshot, guys. And Tripod, as I said, won his first Money in the Bank ladder match, and he changed his career. It led to 2 undisputed Superstar Championship reigns, and so a Money in the Bank qualifier tonight could be a step in the right direction for those guys. Tripod will not be in that qualifier, but he will have his own fight. And we asked you guys what you wanted that to be. Did you want it to be against a rookie superstar? Did you want it to be against a former superstar? Or did you want it to be against a former main eventer? Well, this was our last poll that was released, and it was just a few days ago, so understandably we didn't get as many votes as maybe some of the other ones did. But we did still get some votes. In last, with 7 votes, which surprised me, is a former superstar. So there will not be a former superstar facing Tripod tonight. So to the guy that joined the party, there you go. So it is between a former main eventer and a rookie superstar. And the winner with 14 votes, Tripod tonight, the former two-time undisputed Superstardom champion, former Mr. Money in the Bank, and Hall of Fame 2016 inductee, will be going up against a rookie superstar. So you guys clearly have wanted to see new blood here in EIF, and you will get that. A first-year superstar will face Prismatic Nebula tonight, later on Victory Votes. Now, as I said, we have 8 matches total, including the pre-show, scheduled for tonight's broadcast. Now, 3 of them we are planning as the big 3, right? We've got the 2 World Championship matches. Those are obvious ones. But how about Ratluck's Hollywood Open Challenge? Now, this was an idea sparked by the opportunity for Ratluck, a guy who has been here for nearly 6 years, and now he would be given the opportunity to go up against guys that he has never fought before, young superstars, rookie superstars, brand new superstars. And Ratluck's kind of gotten to do that thus far. Ratluck added the stipulation that he would fight the superstar in a Superstardom Rules one-on-one using modern Chris Jericho with 4 reversals, and if that superstar could defeat Ratluck cleanly by a pinfall or a submission within EIF rules, Ratluck will forfeit one of his title shots over to that respective superstar. We have seen Ratluck defend the Hollywood Open Challenge 4 times. He has went 4-0 in those contests and has even sparked the opportunity for guys like Greedy and Tripod to give away these things. Ratluck's Hollywood Open Challenge has truly become a marquee part of EIF here in the past few weeks, and for the first time, the Hollywood Open Challenge will be broadcasted through a pay-per-view match. We did see the first broadcast of the Hollywood Open Challenge 2 nights ago, where Ratluck defeated the, at time, 1-0 Austin, another newcomer for Ratluck. And we asked you, who did you want to see Ratluck defend his Hollywood Open Challenge against tonight? Did you want to see it defended for the second time against Headshot Killa, who nearly defeated Ratluck in their first contest with Kalisto? Did you want to see Ratluck go one-on-one for the first time ever with Nexus Genesis using the Swiss Superman Cesaro? Or did you want Ratluck to take a trip down under to face the Samoan Submission Machines representative from Australia, Jumper v. Magnum? The votes are in. It will not be Jumper v. Magnum. And it will not be Nexus Genesis. And so, for the second time, and the first time in the Hollywood Open Challenge, we will have a rematch. It will be Ratluck going one-on-one with Headshot Killa. Chris Jericho versus Kalisto. 5-0. And if Headshot wins, he will earn himself a title shot and be the first challenger for this to defeat the Hollywood movie star. All right, guys. Well, of course, we are going to have to head off air, unfortunately, due to a technical error on my end. But either way, hey, it doesn't matter. We still got a couple polls to go, so let's break them down before we take a very, very brief timeout and get right back on for our pre-show match between Aaron and Greedy. They're preparing in the back right now. But let's talk about something they're both familiar with, World Championships. Greedy and Aaron have both, in this year and beyond, won main event championships in EIF. It's the pinnacle of a superstar's career here in Extreme International Fighting to grab the brass ring, referred to as either the Undisputed Superstardom or Undisputed World Championship. Tonight, in our pre-main event, the Undisputed World Championship will be on the line when Deathlock defends against Hybrid Maniac, and our final match tonight will feature NBC Master on Superstardom as the Beast Brock Lesnar defending against the reborn, rejuvenated, revitalized #1 contender, as he rightfully should have been 3 months ago, in Jetstar, which will be representing Finn Balor. Whether the demon comes out of him or not remains to be seen. Let's take to the voting polls, starting with that Superstardom Championship match. To make it difficult on both NBC Master as well as Jetstar, we decided that for the first time in the history of victory votes in EIF, a poll would revolve around a banned finisher. Both superstars Brock Lesnar and Finn Balor, represented by the two Superstardom title combatants, each carry 2 finishers. The F5 and the Kimura for Lesnar, as well as the Coup de Grace and Bloody Sunday, also referred to now as the 1916 by Finn Balor. We asked you on Twitter, as we did with many of our other polls on our Twitter account, which one you did not want to see be used tonight. And we can tell you this much, without a doubt, because none of you wanted this, the Coup de Grace will be legal, as we had literally 0 votes for the Coup de Grace to be banned. We also know, as this one only received 1 vote, that we will have a chance at seeing the F5 tonight. And so it is down to either the submission Kimura lock from NBC Master or the Bloody Sunday of Jetstar's Finn Balor. We took votes both on Twitter as well as afterward, taking some votes right here on Xbox One, and came to a decision. With 4 votes more, the finisher that will be banned for tonight's undisputed Superstardom Championship match between Jetstar and the defending champion NBC Master will be the Bloody Sunday. Now this throws a wrench into the plans, and so Jetstar's Bloody Sunday will not be allowed. If Jetstar attempts and completes the Bloody Sunday finisher in tonight's World Championship match, he will be disqualified, and NBC Master will retain his Superstardom Championship. Guys, here's another important fact to point out for you, though. Jetstar's one finisher, the Coup de Grace, does not allow a catching finisher. And so that is one positive Jet can take moving forward, whereas most diving finishers, in this case where you could only use them, would almost spell a guaranteed end. Jetstar will not be guaranteed the end because there is a very good chance that he could still hit the Coup de Grace on NBC. However, NBC could either F5 Jetstar as well as potentially break the arm of Jetstar, as he did to both Jumper Magnum and Tripod earlier this week. NBC is thus far a perfect 4-0 on this week's tour, and he is looking to finish 5-0. Jetstar has not competed on this week's tour. And our last poll reveal revolves around the Undisputed World Championship. Deathlock had a brief stint as Intercontinental Champion before deciding to yet again return to the main event after a multi-month hiatus. And for the first time since last year, Deathlock became the Undisputed World Champion in a close-fought contest at the end with then-champion Frost, who still has a rematch clause. However, it cannot be used tonight. That is because 4 weeks ago, in a decimating decision, Hybrid Maniac defeated his WrestleMania 7 opponent and good friend Ratluck to become the #1 contender and have this one-on-one opportunity tonight for the Undisputed World Championship. Hybrid Maniac is arguably the most dominant superstar in EIF today, and nobody truly knows what his ceiling is. He has won both World Championships numerous times, and Hybrid Maniac actually introduced Deathlock into EIF just about 3 years ago, just under 3 years ago. Now Deathlock, a main eventer and the Undisputed World Champion, will face the Master in this student versus teacher match that we asked you to pick the stipulation for. Did you either want A, a normal match, B, a TLC match, or C, a 15-minute breakaway limit steel cage match? The votes are casted for our final poll reveal. We took votes both on Twitter, followed by Xbox One voting, and they have combined for these results. In last with only 3 votes, this match will not be contested under normal rules. In order to win this match for the Undisputed World Championship between Deathlock and Hybrid Maniac, this superstar will have to climb their way to victory by escaping the steel cage, as they will be trapped in a 15-minute breakaway limit steel cage match. And for those that don't know, like I said, it was on Twitter and Xbox One. On Twitter, TLC won, but following that, TLC received no votes on Xbox One, where 15-minute breakaway limit received about half a dozen extra votes, which helped pull it into first. So, Deathlock and Hybrid for the Undisputed World Championship will be locked inside a steel cage. It will only be the third time the 15-minute breakaway limit has been used here on Xbox One, and the first time for the Undisputed World Championship, not the World Heavyweight, but the Undisputed World Championship for the first time since 2010, when Cade defended the championship. So, yes, the last main event title was 2011 between Hostile and Raymond in the World Heavyweight. But the last time the Undisputed World Championship, or the top title, has been 6 years. So, obviously, a number of big stipulations, guys, and so much to look forward to tonight. And while I want everybody's attention to be focused on tonight's broadcast of Victory Votes, we have to talk about what happened all week long here on tour, because we had an excellent outing from a number of superstars. We also had some good viewers at some nights. Ironically, EIF AM, we pushed nearly 30 viewers live at one point, so you guys obviously like the late night shows. And we're going to be bringing you back to late night next week on Friday, because while we do want you guys to be here and be focused on tonight's Victory Votes, we want to explain a little bit about the podcast. Back by popular demand, the podcast unfortunately was postponed to be backed up by 1 week. We originally were scheduled to do the podcast last night, followed by Let's Play on next week's edition of EIF Original Programming, but we flip-flopped them. So, next week on Friday, July 15th, the second episode of the EIF podcast, backed by popular demand, which received 70-plus live viewers to be the most live-watched broadcast on the EIF network to date, returns in a special 3-person podcast, as Greedy will take a seat back. I, as the guest, will become the host. And on next week's podcast, we will meet with 2 of arguably the most successful, controversial superstars this league has ever seen. Tonight marks 2 years since the last time they competed in an EIF ring. And next week, for the first time in 2 years, their voices will be heard to tell you the story they never got to share. From Queens, New York, next week on the EIF podcast, Carney is the host, and Raymond and Tony Vinn as the special guests on the podcast. The Rockstar Revolution returns to the EIF, and for the first time ever, will be heard live on the EIF Network. Podcast Episode 2, Carney hosting Raymond and Anthony, the Rockstar Brothers, the Rockstar Revolution, and it can be seen next week, Friday, July 15th, live right here on the EIF Network. Expected start time is 11 p.m., but is subject to change. Stay tuned and follow Twitter for the most up-to-date news regarding the EIF podcast's return, as well as all other things needed to know here in Extreme International Fighting. So, the polls have been revealed. The votes have been tallied and counted, as has the podcast guests been announced. Coming up next, after this short commercial break, we return to the voice of Hybrid Maniac, as it's time to get in the squared circle here at Victory Votes. Greedy versus Aaron, next, right here on the EIF Network. Stay with us.